Thank you for joining me for the AI news update for today. I want to talk about not text to image, which is what I almost just accidentally said, but actually text to video. So both Meta and Google have made big strides in this direction this week. So I thought we would investigate both of them. There's been a little bit of text to video before, but it's basically been text to image, but then sometimes you can change the CFG scale to kind of add or remove detail, or you slowly can make some sort of scene kind of change and morph from like buildings or zoom into it. But I want to really say that we're at any point where you can type in like a cat walking on top of a taxi cab or something and actually see the cat walking. You know, that would be more of a general image where you might hold the seed and kind of push it forward. As a company that I'm trying to build that's going to be content focused, that's going to be AI focused, this is one of the holy grails of where it's going. And every time something like this comes out, I feel like a passion or a need to share it. So anyways, I'll just start with this article from The Verge. So last week, Facebook's parent company Meta shared a new AI model that turned text prompts into short, soundless videos. I mean, look at this thing. So a fluffy baby sloth with an orange knitted hat trying to figure out a laptop, close up, highly detailed, studio lighting, screen reflecting in its eyes. Like it's got that motion that you wouldn't have got previously where the fingers typing and things like that. So it was amazing. And I was just about to cover how incredible this tool looked like it was. And it's not available to the public, but I'm on the waiting list for it. So I will definitely do a video as soon as I get access, but I feel like I'm never one of those early in people. What Google did is they took their Imogen technology, which was text to image, and started adding a bunch of different layers to it and making some absolutely incredible videos. So you can see some of the prompts here: an astronaut riding a horse, a giraffe underneath a microwave. Wait, yeah, kind of underneath. I don't like that thought, actually. Or this one, a cat on the left of a dog, teddy bear washing dishes. I mean, pretty freaking cool. Like this ice cream, melting pistachio ice cream dripping down the cone, and especially the actual word text, a bunch of colorful candies falling into a tray in the shape of the text, and then quote image and video. I haven't got anything from DALL-E or diffusion models or Midjourney to really spell something correctly. So that in itself is another layer that should probably be noted. So this was a great video that was put out by 2 Minute Papers where they broke down how the text to image was starting to combine pairs of keywords. It's like this panda playing a guitar. And that's sort of the magic where you got that sense that one object existed in the world and a second one did, and they sort of interacted, like almost like the function it's approximating knew that there were these two objects and they could only interact in some ways, which itself was a breakthrough. But I think that kind of thinking is why it seems so amazing now that they're doing text to video. I wanted to show you this cat jumping on the couch. Like, I mean, I'm sure you're going to have a lot of thoughts on this the same way I do, but from a distance, I feel like they're doing a good job. And then when I get close, I mean, it's just so weird. You know, it's like, what am I looking at? I think about, like, what am I looking at? Because look at this cat. There's definitely some motion there that feels very cat-like. The fur, the stretching, kind of the face, although it is weird when you pause it where the eyes are. And then now it sort of lands on the couch as if it has some thickness, but the couch doesn't totally go down where it's supposed to. In the cat with the right paw, its right paw should be probably in front of the couch, or if not, now it's like twisted around in a way that it shouldn't be. But then it kind of pulls it up, and then the front kind of knows to bend, and it kind of pushes the couch down. And then I'm kind of like, is it melting into it? Kind of, but the fur sort of still looks real. And then more and more slow motion furs. I don't know. I mean, just like, what am I looking at? But it's mesmerizing, if nothing else. I just wonder what text to video is going to look like for the next little bit. I mean, it's all happening so fast. This is such an amazing, like Carlo Ajuna says, like, it's such an amazing time to be alive, because it's just crazy that computers are starting to feel this human and create this kind of realism. But still, you know, it's obviously a little bit muddy waters until we kind of work out the details. And that last 5-10% takes a lot of work to get there usually. But incredible exponential growth. I'm not going to say it's going to take that long. Let's check out their next image. Imogen coming out of a fairy tale book. Now, this is mind-blowing that it gets the words right. That isn't trivial, and that is something worth noting. Also, this diffusion model goes through different stages to get it up to 24 frames a second, and it does a bunch of upsampling. So we'll talk about that in a second, but this is cool. I see the book to the side. It shows a pretty plain background to help the image stand out, which I think is sort of smart, or it's a good way to go about creating something like this. And then they definitely grow. I mean, if you've ever seen like a hyperlapse of a plant, sometimes it does stuff like that. You know, it kind of has that shakiness to it. And I could have seen if it sort of captured that into the words. And, you know, Imagen, it is spelled correctly. It is not totally easy to do. I grew up in Park City, Utah, Salt Lake City. I know snow, man. Like, I have done my share of shoveling. And yeah, on first glance, it feels a bit real. I mean, then there's some weird contrasty stuff, but the way the snow sort of moves around is a little bit off. But I don't know. I mean, it kind of feels like it could have been like an old video that someone kind of messed with a little bit. Definitely not an example I would hold up as like, we nailed it, but it's still fascinating to watch. Okay, let's try this one. I haven't seen this yet. Wooden figure surfing on a surfboard in space. It's like Silver Surfer style, kinda. I mean, this is the right position for a surfer to sit on. Knees kind of do some weird stuff there, bending around, but you know, fascinating nonetheless. Does generally stay on the surfboard. I guess the planet kind of morphs into water, which is pretty cool, but always keeps the sky. It knows the stars are supposed to be there since it's kind of in outer space. I mean, what can I say, man? It's fascinating. And for a music video or something, it definitely does the job of bringing you an emotion. So I am really excited to play with it. So Google researchers note that the Imogen video model outputs 16 frames of 3 frames per second footage at 2848 resolution. Now, this low-res content is then ran through various AI super resolution models, which boost this output to 128 frames, 24 frames a second at 1280 by 768 resolution. So that's higher quality than Meta's Make a Video model, which boasts around 768 by 768. It's so fuzzy though. Like, this is not exactly the best way to think about anything, because there's upscaling, there's in-painting, there's all these other little things that you're throwing together. So when somebody says something about resolution from one of these models, the most important thing is just to think about the diffusion model, like how many parameters was it trained on, what algorithm did it use for backpropagation, for honing it in, how much data, what was the quality of the data, what was the style of the data, and then which models were used to like upsample it. So there's a lot going on here. It's not going to be easy to just compare apples to apples in any of these situations, because there's so much innovation going on and everybody's kind of got their own path for turning the text into video. But that's what's fun about it. I like to compare the two. Some models will be better for some reason. So now let's check out this one. A cat on the left of a dog. I feel like they did a little bit better job with the face on the dog than the cat. The cat face, I don't even see it until the cat turns, but then I kind of do. And then what happens to the dog? It's like all long and lanky. It just like stretches out and becomes like a wiener dog on command. It's just like, whoop. Kind of weird, but still, man, it's just crazy. Okay, so this one is fascinating. You guys, I don't know actually if there is a problem with this one. This one might be the closest to perfect. A teddy bear washing dishes. I present to you. When I think of teddy bears, they always have those like missing frame rate kind of things. They look like claymation to me in my mind. So when I see that, I'm like, yeah, that's about right. I think it's going to be like exactly like that. Maybe the dish in the sink now that I look close. Even the depth on this like weird tiled background seems to stay pretty consistent when his hands move up and down. I have actually never quite noticed. If you look right where the dishes are, yeah, the background, now the tile is right, but before that the tile kind of gets merged in. Or is that his other hand? I don't know, man. But anyways, a lot of this has to do with the upsampling. I mean, they're just pretty low resolution outputs. And then as we upsample it, kind of weirder and weirder artifacts tend to come in. So, I mean, we're not that far away. Okay, hand lifts a cup. What do you think? So it seemed good, but on second inspection, let's go look at the hand a little bit. So the cup stays pretty good. I like the shadow as the hand comes in from the right. I love that it, simulated that shadow, although the shadow gets a little distorted. Here comes the fingers. Like, okay, let's say this is like 24 frames a second. There's a little bit of motion blur, but motion blur doesn't feel quite right. It kind of feels like it's more like an index finger where the thumb should be, but I'm not hating, man. It's still pretty incredible. Normally you would loop that finger in, and then the other two would kind of come down, but there's too many fingers, like always. Almost. And like some have, it's like kind of male and then female when the nail shows up, like male and female nail, or like a guy with nails on. But that part looks good. Look at the shadow right at the bottom of that cup as it lifts up. Really dark under there. Feels like it did simulate some real lighting. The way the brightness kind of comes in. I mean, I can feel the shadow even off camera, which is pretty interesting. I don't know. There's a lot to be proud of in that video. Fingers are just always looking weird. I heard they're hard for artists too to just draw. So in addition to Imogen video, there is a second video model that has come out. Now this other model is going to be more focused on a more long storyline. So this is going to be the one that will probably evolve in the direction that's more towards, I want to create like a full 8-minute YouTube video, whereas this other one is going to be focused more on sort of a short kind of meta competitor, maybe a little higher quality, a little more short form. So this other one is called Finaiki. Hopefully I'm saying it right, but this is another text to video model and its focus is on that longer prompt. So I wanted to show you an example of what they released, and I'll try to, because it's a long prompt, maybe I can kind of narrate it a bit alongside what was produced. So the final video is 2 minutes long. Keep that in mind. Now the prompt starts with lots of traffic in a futuristic city. An alien spaceship arrives to the futuristic city and the camera gets inside the alien spaceship. So obviously starting with a fish is kind of weird, but let's go ahead and just check it out, because there is fish later in the storyline and maybe it moved it forward a little bit. Okay, so I'm seeing this sort of Nemo-y looking thing, a little bit Dory looking thing. Okay, we're still in the water. I'm feeling like we're one of those cameras that's like floating in the water. Okay, now I'm seeing lots of traffic in a futuristic city a little bit. And then the next prompt, an alien spaceship arrives to the futuristic city. So that's probably that spaceship coming in on the left. The camera gets inside the spaceship should be the next part of the prompt. So it's going to the city, going to the spaceship. Okay, maybe that's the spaceship. Maybe the spaceship is secretly the city we didn't know. How clever. Spaceship was with us all the time. Okay, so now the camera moves forward until showing an astronaut in the blue room. Not a blue room, but the blue room. The astronaut is typing in the keyboard. Okay, so there's computers and keyboards. Are we going to see an astronaut? What the heck? Where'd that lion come from? Is there anything about that later? Astronaut's typing in a keyboard. The camera moves away from the astronaut. The astronaut leaves the keyboard and walks to the left. The astronaut leaves the keyboard and walks away. The camera moves beyond the astronaut and looks at the screen. The screen behind the astronaut displays a fish swimming in the sea. Okay, so maybe that fish we saw at the beginning was actually from later in the prompt. Maybe it doesn't happen in the same order as the prompt goes. Interesting. What, is there even a lion? Okay, let's just go a little further in here. The heck? How long is this table that this lion is walking on? And the lion's like maturing with an instant. Just mature enough to eat me? What is going on? No. Is he an astronaut now? He's a man in a business suit, kind of. He makes eye contact with the fourth wall. Okay, so obviously these prompts feel very different from the output, but the camera points up to the sky through the water. The ocean and the coastline of a futuristic city. Crash, zoom, forward, futuristic skyscraper. The camera zooms into one of the many windows. Oh, we did see that before. We are in an office room with empty desks. We saw that. A lion runs on top of the office desks. The camera zooms. Wait. God, I feel like I must have made him. All right, yeah, no, this is the prompt. Sorry, for a second, it just made me feel like maybe there were two videos or something, because it seems like in the middle of this prompt is where we started. So that's why when I was following it in a linear way, it just wasn't keeping up. But yeah, okay, so we saw that ocean, coastline, futuristic city, crash towards the skyscraper. Camera zooms into one of the many windows. We're in an office room with empty desks. A lion runs on top of the desks. The camera zooms into the lion's face inside the office. So let's see if that happens next. All right, lion's making eye contact. Zoom on in, camera. No, he's looking away. Quick, before he looks all the way away. What? Now we're back out? Zoom out of building. It doesn't say that. Well, anyways. So then it says zoom out to the lion wearing a dark suit in an office room. Oh, maybe that's what happened. The lion wearing looks at the camera and smiles. I guess we kind of saw that. The camera zooms out slowly to the skyscraper exterior, which we just saw. Now you should be expecting a time lapse of sunset in a modern city. Is that what we get? That looks like a time lapse of a sunset in a modern city. What's all this? No, the spaceship's back? Do we still have another minute on this video? Wait, going into the astronaut. This is all the stuff at the beginning. It's like out of order, but here we go. Lots of traffic in futuristic city. An alien spaceship arrives. The camera gets stuck inside the alien ship. The camera moves forward until showing an astronaut in the blue room. The astronaut is typing on the keyboard. The camera slowly moves away from the astronaut. The astronaut leaves the keyboard and walks to the left. The astronaut leaves the keyboard and walks away. The camera moves beyond the astronaut and looks at the screen. Oh. And there's the fish. The screen behind the astronaut displays fish swimming in the sea. It's exactly what it's doing. Crash zoom into the blue fish. We follow the blue fish as it swims in the ocean. And then I guess that's kind of like where it started. I don't know why the prompt didn't happen in the order, but honestly, that was freaking amazing. And that was so cool. And obviously, like, a lot of funky little details and styles are all going to be worked out. But the fact that computers can do that, we are on the cusp. This is exactly why, if I'm going to build any kind of a successful business using this technology, like, we have to start moving very quickly, thinking about where this is applicable, who does it provide value to. Oh God, yeah, that was pretty cool. That was not, even when I was looking at the meta stuff, I didn't expect to have an experience like that. Obviously, the video's coherence and resolution is lower quality than that of the Imogen video, but the sustained series of scenes and settings is impressive. I 100% agree. Even with GPT-3, when it's writing like amazing stories and stuff, I never got that sense that it could hang on to that many. Well, I guess the prompts kind of give it the whole story, and then it's almost just like breaking them apart and then combining them. But in the paper describing the model, the researchers say their method can generate videos of an arbitrary length with no limit. I mean, if you think about that, that is like a live stream or a movie that never ends. That's when we can just start a story, and every single minute for the rest of our lives, it just continually builds on itself. Because why not? It doesn't need to be thought through or rendered. It just needs to react to the society that we live in, to the content that the audience wants to see. And that's the kind of maybe movie experience we're going to have in the future, or something like in the metaverse where you're just asking for something to change and it just happens because everything was just generated in real time around you anyways. The paper describing the model, the researchers say their method can generate videos of arbitrary length. That's crazy. That's crazy. What an exciting time to be alive. Oh, got that from 2 Minute Papers. I just see those videos all the time and it like stuck with me. I'm not trying to copy them. They say that the future version of the model will be part of an ever-broadening tool set for artists and non-artists alike, providing new and exciting ways to express creativity, but also note that while the quality of the video generated by Finaki is not yet indistinguishable from real videos, getting to that bar for a specific set of samples is within the realm of possibility even today.